Namaste, fist pump. Video today. It's going to be hard truth on video today. So you got high number on Lumen and you're not losing weight. You're getting like carb numbers, 4s, 5s, even 3s. And this is the hard truth, and this is one of the things that most people are making, and nobody wants to hear this. And basically, you're a freaking liar. Yes, you are a liar now. You're not a liar, but you are probably tracking wrong. And this is like, no, I'm not, Angus. I'm tracking everything perfectly. And as I discussed in my kind of glucose video, these are the carbons, and this make up your weight. And if you've been on a calorie deficit, you are losing carbons by definition. And if you're not losing carbons, you're not on a calorie deficit. So the calorie deficit, the tracking calories in and out. So tracking out varies. It can lower over time. You've got metabolic compensation, metabolic adaptation. The calories in, on the other hand, is one of the biggest problems. So if we look at this picture here, this is a study done on obese people. So you may not be obese yourself, but it correlates to the slimmer you are, to the more overweight you are, the more likely you are to be underreporting calories. And these people underreport calories by 50%. So they track these people with double labeled water as a way of accurately tracking the calories they actually consumed versus the calories they reported. So all these people were people who were what's called diet resistance. They're like, oh, I'm only eating 1,000 calories, but I'm not losing weight. And so the researchers went, okay, let's track this. So the people went away, tracked their calories, came back and said, oh, I was eating 1,000 calories to 1,200. Some people reported 800 calories. Some people were like 1,500. What the calories they were actually eating was 3,000 calories. So they're just grossly underestimating the amount of calories that they were ingesting. Why do people do this? Sometimes people just don't know. Sometimes people are just eyeballing food. I eyeballed a portion of pasta yesterday that I assumed was 150 grams of pasta, and then I popped it on the scale and weighed it, and it was 300 grams, so I was off by 50%, double. So that was crazy. I do this with other things. You maybe just go to the cupboard and grab a biscuit unconsciously. There used to be a TV program in the UK called Secret Eaters, and people would just be pouring olive oil on things, and the cameras would track them over time, and they were like, oh, we're dieting, and then they would sit down and it would be this big reveal and shaming episode. So people are under tracking. So eyeballing food doesn't work. You should really be measuring. If you're having trouble losing your weight, you need to measure every morsel that goes into your mouth. Yes, that seems super drastic, but if you're having trouble losing weight, that's kind of what you need to do. Eating out. Chefs just pour stuff in. I used to work in an Indian restaurant, and like there would be this much oil in every curry. You would have 400 or 500 calories of oil in the food. Something like a korma, just a mind-blowing amount of almonds, coconut, and cream going into that dish. It would just be way more than dessert. Just several thousands of calories in one dish. So eating out, hidden calories particularly in eating out. Sometimes people will have a latte, whipped cream, and a cinnamon bun and be like, it was just a snack, and it's like it's 1,500 calories. It's an insane snacky snack to have. So not weighing your food, hidden carbs in things. Like sometimes you could grab a dolmio pasta sauce. It has an insane amount of carbs in it because they add so much sugar in it to make it sweetened. Drinking your calories, like I said with the latte, but people just drink calories. Maybe they have 10 cups of coffee a day with 50 mils of milk. That adds up over time. I've had people that put cream in their coffee and they have 4 coffees a day. They have 400 calories of cream in their coffee a day, and they were assuming that they hadn't eaten anything. And the last sort of thing, which is crazy, is food labels in the US can be up to 20%. And I did try and look up what the UK was. It's probably quite something similar. So the actual food label itself can be off by 20%. You're just trying to look for a 20% discount. Companies that make, say, chocolate bars or McDonald's can probably dial in their calories perfect. So they'll just underreport 20% on the label because they can make their food, calorie perfect. So if they underreport 20%, it makes a Big Mac look better if it's 500 calories instead of 20% more. That's 600-700 calories for the same burger, because they can make it calorie perfect and they can just lie on the label because they're given this 20%. So the last point I want to make is also on activity. There's a really good TED talk. I'll try and link it if I can find it, and it was on perception. So they measured people's waist, and then they had the bin that was about 200 meters away, and then they asked people to guess how far away the bin was. The larger someone's waist, the further away they would say. So if someone had a large waist, they would be like, oh, that's like 500 meters away. And people with a smaller waist would say it was closer than it was, say, 150 meters. And people with kind of normal waist size would be like, it would be 200 meters. So the waist size correlated to how far. So again, overweight people will underestimate how much they're eating, so they're generally eating more, and they'll overestimate how far away something is. So they'll be like, oh, I did a really hard workout, I walked 100 miles. You walked a mile, and oh, I'm only eating 1,000 calories. You ate 3,000 calories. And that's a really hard truth. So get a really hard kind of, be like a accountant coming in doing an audit on a business. Come in hard and just check things out. This is why people can drastically lose weight when they remove a food group like, say, carbohydrates. They remove a food group like carbohydrates, and it kind of stops them snacking, stops them picking, stops them eating a few biscuits, so then they blame carbs. But it was really just an overindulgence in little things that add up over time. You're awake for, say, 16 hours a day, and you will just be constantly munching for that 16 hours, grabbing a few biscuits here, handful of nuts here, etc. This is also why intermittent fasting can be really powerful as a calorie controlling tool, because if you do a 16-8 fast, you only got 8 hours eating. So if I do something like break my fast at, say, 2 o'clock and close my fast at 8:30, I only really get 2 meals in and a cheeky snack. So that drastically reduces the amount of calories. Yesterday I had a high fat breakfast that was 350 calories. Then I came home from coaching and there were some pancakes on the go, so I had like 4 pancakes, and normally I would have fasted, so I had about 800 calories of food when I would have normally had 0, and that's just me, and that's just yesterday. So anyway, I'll check you guys on the next one.